It's wild how isolating parenting is. It's wild how isolating everything on earth is. I feel like we used to do things way the fuck more communally, you know? Like even like if your tribe had a bad batch of meat and you all had the shits, I bet they were all like shitting in the same group of trees going like, "Ah, this sucks." Arr! Like they were a lot more open because they all know the other ones are shitty. They were probably less concerned about privacy. They were all like walking around basically naked anyway. Why the fuck are we so like isolating with the parenting stuff? It's actually insane. Like having new kids, and this is not like a right wing versus left wing thing because right wingers' ideal family situation is like a private fortress castle house with a white picket fence in suburbia where they're 50 miles from the nearest black person. Like this is not, well, how pro fertility are you on paper? It's like we obviously are, we're so isolatory. It's very inhuman. Regarding the birth rate issue, what if women could bring their babies to work even if it brings down production? Man, it's complicated because if you get into it, like you do start to run into arguments like, well, should women even be working that much? If you want child rearing to be a good option, like they do kind of have to choose between the career and having a kid. Like you can do the maternity leave thing, but there are kind of limits to that. And you can say like, well, what if the guy got paternity leave too? But like, there's still a bias there. It's just a biological bias. I don't know. I don't know. That's tough. I mean, obvious answer is like free daycare. Well, okay, it's not just free daycare. It's destigmatized daycare. Because like in every neighborhood, you have like one or two daycares, right? But the daycare is just like the size of a building. Like 99.99% of the land in a neighborhood is for adults, basically. And then like 0.01% of the land is for babies or whatever. But like daycare can go from like 0 to 4, 0 to 5. Well, I don't know. This is rain. I'm not a parent, you know. But like that's a significant portion of a human's lifespan. It seems weird that like the only daycares that exist basically are like somewhat accredited, like here's a woman who's using her house like as a daycare and she's got like a little sign out the front or something. I don't know. We should have more daycares. And they should be free and like really socially destigmatized, right? Like, oh, I left my kid at the daycare, then I picked them up. And it's not like, oh, so you're one of those moms. Like you're gonna go work and then you see your kid for only like 8 hours a day. That's how it was for all of human history, dude. Like, even when the mom was always at home, the kid would like go running around outside. The modern obsession with like every moment of a child's life has to be supervised by the parent. That's a modern thing. It's actually good for kids to be in daycare because you don't want that weird like homeschooling effect where kids are raised under helicopter parents and they never learn to socialize with people their own age until they get into school. Like the first time they interact with another person their age is at 6 years old. That's insane. That's actually insane. Can you like think about that for a second? Like, can you like recognize how weird that is? Like as a species, you're born and like babies learn really quick and all of their social experiences are with their parents basically for so many years. And then they're thrown into a room with like 20 other kids. What the hell? That's really right. That's pretty. You're not wrong, but a lot of them didn't learn and died, and that was normal. Yeah, but they'd be in daycare. I'm not suggesting they play in traffic. And yeah, like maybe some kids get hurt and die, but that already happened. Like I mean, at that point, it's like well, what if you wrapped your kid in like bubble wrap, 24/7, right? Like, well, daycare might be dangerous. Okay, yeah, but so's everything, right? I don't know. It seems like the stats I'm aware of seem to indicate that daycare is a net positive. So I don't know. And daycare would only get safer if it was more invested in. Everything is dangerous to a baby dipshit. It came free with your baby. That's true until somebody takes my idea and runs with it. The like when babies are goaded with the sauce from day one, like little chimpanzees, you know? Daycare is like 1,000 a month in some cities. My understanding is that 1,000 a month is actually on the relatively like low end in some places, which is again, absolutely psychotic. Mine's 300 a week. Jesus. What do you think about daycares being 24/7 facilities where kids can stay for more than one day if needed? I mean, that makes sense to me. Wouldn't that just be like institutionally building out the idea that if the parents need to take a vacation or get some work trip done or something like that, that there's like a communally accessible place where the kids could be left? Like, yeah, baby hotel. I mean, that seems like we already entrust schools to do overnight classes with kids if they're doing like a group trip, right? Like if you have an eighth grader, the school can be like, yeah, we're gonna take them for 4 days to you know, we're going to go, like me, I went to Yosemite. You trust them for that. Good Lord, I would never trust such a thing. Yeah, me either. But that's probably because in our world today, a daycare is like a little business, and you meet with the business and you're like, okay, sure, this seems fine. And then you leave your kid there for a bit. It's not like an integrated social practice, because we would be okay with that with a school, right? So, and I think a lot of that is because we understand that schools are not just like a business, they're an institution. But that's a big cultural change, and I don't know. I'm just speculating. I don't really know. I feel like it could be a little bit more. I feel like there could be danger of childhood sexual abuse, though. I mean, yeah, but wouldn't having more eyes on it by normalizing daycare make that less of an issue? Also, like the biggest risk to a kid in terms of sexual abuse is from the family. So I don't know if that's necessarily, you underestimate how Hitlerite parents naturally are. No, I talk about it plenty. Trust me, I know. That's not a cultural change. A ton of countries have exactly what you're describing. Well, it'd be a cultural change over here in the States. Ever think about how playdates are a whole ordeal that needs to be scheduled in advance by the parents, Lamau? Yeah, that always seemed like really weird to me. I don't know. Aren't kids supposed to be like Ed, Ed and Eddie? Like they just go outside and there's kids in the neighborhood, but now it's like, well, everyone's house is now like a private fortress, basically, and everyone operates on vampire rules, and everyone's very secretive and protective. So in order for children to interact, you need to like have a binding contract between the two groups of parents, and there needs to be a lot of like, I don't know. Just seems weird. I mean, isn't that justifiable, though, considering the people there are? Yeah, but that's like an argument for withdrawing from society. That's the conservative argument. You're doing the I'm afraid to use the MTA in New York City thing. Like, oh man, there's a lot of up people, so we should divest from society and have everyone live in like isolated social bubbles. Take a drive everywhere. Yeah, but it's justified. I don't think it is, actually. And I certainly don't think there's any statistical evidence to suggest that the rate of child sexual abuse has gone down as a consequence of children playing outside with their local friends less. If there is, I don't know. Do you think the majority of people would be naturally inclined towards wanting to have children if complicating factors like the financial struggle were taken out of the equation? Nowadays, probably not, because people are less bored now. I think even if you remove financials from it, the problem is just people have a lot more going on. And a lot of like raising a child, honestly, sounds pretty tedious. Like, oh, now like at minimum 6 hours of my day, every day, rolling forever, basically, until I'm an old man, has to be dedicated to supervising and attending to a kid. Like, yeesh, you know? You underestimate how much people love to be parents. I'm just pointing at the data, man. You can, oh, well, people love being parents. Okay, I'm pointing at the global decline of the fertility rate in every country, everywhere on Earth, in every, like, spending and income bracket. Like, I'm not saying that there aren't benefits to raising kids, right? Like, it's kind of the whole deal of being a species. I'm just pointing out the fact that a lot of people would rather be, like, free